Yeah. Are we live? It looks like we're live. Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the call to order of the Planning Commission, October 17th, 5 p.m. Please take the roll.
Mr. Colhammer,
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Mr. Fleischner, not present. Mr. Craig.
Here, present.
Mr. Gable. And Mr. Tillman.
Here. And Mayor Quinn is here. We have a quorum. Okay, item 2, approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. I'll make a motion to approve. Motion by Frings. Second. Second by Colomer. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Agenda is approved. Are there any citizen comments tonight? From Lindsay? Citizen comments be kept to a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker. Unless the chairperson allows for an extension of time, each citizens make comments at the podium after stating name and address. Each citizen may comment only one time per public hearing or meeting.
I would like to reserve my time when item 6 comes up, if I can. So it's kind of put together with what's going to be discussed, if that's possible.
What I might suggest is if you'd like to make your public comment now, please do. And if the committee has questions during, we can ask questions.
All right, well, it'll be Bill Lindsmeyer, 1122 Valley Street, Mayville. As in the past that the city council voted unanimously to keep Leona Street. Since then, there's been a movement to chop it up by easements, which probably has not happened to a street in the memory of the city. The question I have is, who's responsible to build the street? Who pays for it? Does the city of Mayville pay for it? Does the developer pay for it? Does the developer get a free ride? How does this work? Is there capital improvement money put aside to develop Leona Street? That would be something that the city would be planning long-term on. Is that in place? Why would the city pay to have a street put in for the purpose of developer to build lots and sell them? That should be the responsibility of the developer. I'm asking this commission not to push this easement through. It's obvious that when you look at it, the street would never be built. We know, everyone here would know that. You're not going to build a street after these easements are in. It just doesn't make sense. It wouldn't happen. So this should not be approved simply because of that. The developer has made quite a few changes, boundaries, lot size, this and that. And if you're familiar with the Wisconsin statute, he's pretty much creating a new subdivision. And when he does that, there's a lot more standards that he has to comply with when it comes to creating that subdivision. When you look at his mapping, you'll see it's just not one or two, it's several lots. There's been no development plan. We don't even know what he's going to build. We don't know how it's going to affect the Valley View subdivision. We don't know how it's going to affect the neighborhood. We don't know. That's been kind of hidden. There's been no stormwater, sewer addressed whatsoever. What about public safety? What about fire? What about snow removal? These things should have been addressed. They have not. They should be addressed before this is even considered for any type of approval or moving it along. The city, if the developer would follow the Maple City codes and ordinances, there'd be no reason for easement. You build the street. Street be put in. I know several residents asked a lot of questions about this. And the planning commission, why would they let the developer build without meeting all those ordinances and codes? In the packet, on the last, if you look at your sheet, it says you're interested, it says easement to be granted until the city constructs Leona Street and provides access to each lot. Is there some way we can find out as people that live down there when you're gonna take care of Leona Street and build it? And it says the easement reviewed by the approved by the city engineer. When is the street going in? It's not going in, we know that. I noticed too in the packet that now there's gonna be some discussion about cul-de-sacs. I'd like to know on the agenda where that's itemized that it's open for discussion. Without that being itemized, that would be an open meetings violation. This has not even been discussed at the previous agenda, which would have been the 19th of September. All of a sudden, we have a new twist in this. I highly recommend that would be tabled. So another date for discussion. All I'm asking is put some consideration of what really should be done. What really should be done, there should be a street put in. And a developer can build with houses and whatever he wants to do in there. But do it correctly, do it according to ordinances, not chopped up with easements that the neighborhood don't even know how it's gonna affect them. So, I want the commission to vote it down tonight, put it aside until this can be studied and find out what the impact this is on those people down there, on us, on my property, storm sewer, different things like that, snow removal. Not discussed, just, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Okay. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Are there any other citizen comments? Tom?
Hello, Tom Beatty, 825 Park Lane, Elm Grove. Speaking in response to all of that, I would like to point out that we're not doing a new subdivision, that the lots we've been talking to the boards about already exist. The other thing I'd like to bring up, and we may have to talk about this later, is that we now have a purchase option on the lands that are on the west side of Leona Street. So we have under sales option agreements, all of the land along Leona Street. I'd also point out that everything that we would build on Leona Street has to conform to the city code for single family, for zoning, all of those things. We're not asking for a change to any of that there, other than a lot line change. What am I thinking? We come before you offering several different options on how to get those lands built cost effectively. I think during the item tonight, we can talk about the cost of the road. We realize it's cost prohibitive. It's also cost prohibitive for any developer. So if you're ever going to develop any of those lots, you have to find an economical way to do that, of which there are a bunch of ways to do that. Some that we've offered, some we haven't talked about. We're just trying to find a way to build some homes there. And we can talk about it. I think item 6. Thank you.
Any other citizen comments? All right. Item number 4, approve the minutes of September 19th, 2023 meeting.
I think they need to be adjusted because there's some things that are kind of. Look like they need that's into the wrong location. If you look at item 6. South 5 acres of Clark Street, there's approval of CSM and approval of lot layout. So I don't think that, I think we ended up postponing that to this meeting.
Can we?
As well as item D, or item D under number 6 was part of. That rezoning, which I think is number 8. So I think we should probably review this.
Okay, so we'll take a motion to table to the November planning commission meeting.
Sure. I can go through it and.
You'll work with Christine on that?
Sure.
Okay. That is a motion by Alderman Tillman,
Second.
second by Colomer. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That is tabled to the November meeting of the planning commission. Item number 5, discuss with possible action regarding a proposed residential development located on the south 5 acres of 305 South Clark Street, parcel number 251-1216-2323-012. A motion to be made.
Are you motioning
I think this,
eliminate?
I don't know what the proposal is. At this point, I mean, I know it's. I remember we had the last, one. I guess that was.
We can't discuss until somebody makes a motion.
I guess I don't know.
Oh, yeah, we can discuss with possible action, so that's the object. We don't have to do action, but yeah, we discuss with possible action.
Okay,
And I guess I don't know the proposal.
Yeah, just for some insight on that item, we would like to give you an update on our next steps on that one. I don't think there's any, we're not asking for any motion there. We just wanted to tell you where we were at with that and change.
so there is a. From an open meeting standpoint, that's not how it's listed on the agenda. Does anybody have any issues with listening to Tom Beatty's presentation regarding the project?
No, I'd like to hear what, I mean, we have the map here with the 3
And it says
sections.
regarding a proposed,
Okay.
proposing something.
Okay, so no objections. All right, Tom?
So what we added to your package there is a new map of what we're proposing on Clark Street. We've come before you, and we've been at this since the beginning of the year. So we've come with a couple alternatives. You all were kind enough to grant our last request based on getting rezoning and variances and all of those things. When we look at our options on purchasing the land and for some business reasons, we are withdrawing our previous request to do all of those things. And we are going to submit a simple CSM division according to the Mayville zoning code. So that's an application process that will go to the city engineer. Eventually it'll come to you in a month or two. And what we're going to do is take that 5 acres and create 3 lots there, as you see drawn on there, all conforming to the current zoning there. So we don't need any rezone. We don't need any variance. That'll create 3 parcels. In a CSM, you're allowed 4 parcels, but we have to use the first parcel to split the original 10. So the senior care sits on 10. Split number 1 goes to create 2 5-acre parcels. Split number 2 goes to create 1 lot 90 feet wide. Split number 3 goes to split the second 90-foot wide lot. And then it leaves us with potentially 3 more lots that we could split either through the plat division part of the code, or come back to you in 5 years and split that into 3 lots using a CSM again. So we're just following the most basic, simple way of, for us to close this, move forward on the parcel, because honestly, kind of our holding costs, our interest rates have gone up 3.5 points just this year since you started this. So we need to get the deal closed, satisfy our customer who we're purchasing the land from. It'll all be very simple, transactional, and meets everything that's in your code. I wanted to inform you that we're not asking you for anything. We don't need anything from you to do that. The process is laid out pretty simple right there. Any questions? Thank you for
No
that.
questions. Thanks, Tom. All right, that covers item number 5. Item number 6, discussion with possible action regarding the proposed residential development located along Leona Street right away. Parcels 251-1216-1432-008 and 251-1216-1432-009. Yeah,
Good one. So we're here today to talk about Leona Street, which we were here a month ago. The planning commission decided, I don't know if I'm using the right term, table it at that time. You guys wanted some more time to look at it and think about it. Since then, we have closed on an option to purchase the west side of the street as well. And what you have in there are a couple of potential map layouts. And again, all we're asking for is the most cost-effective way to create access to those lots. So I also did some studying. We got the original plat from 1992 when that street was reserved and dedicated to the city. So it was dedicated in 1992. On the plat, it did not require the developer to build that street. Prior to that time, those lots were created. And then the large parcel on the west side is unplatted. And our proposal for that would be to use a simple CSM process as well to create 4 lots over there like it was originally shown. So that you have all that. The last time we talked, we had the concept of some easements and driveways over that roadway. Since then, Nick, you did a road update as part of the cost, right?
I gave you all an estimate here of what it would cost roughly for an installation for the entire road to make it a through road.
So we're looking at $600,000 to $700,000 to build that road to create 7 buildable lots, which is a huge number. The development certainly can't bear it. Those lots are going to sell for $30,000, $40,000, $45,000, right? So the value of the lots doesn't even equal the value of the road. Hence why we came to you months ago with the idea of either a cul-de-sac or a road easement or something like that, the vacation, which we talked through as well. So we're here tonight to gauge the appetite of the planning commission and this, a recommendation to the city to do something there. Otherwise, most of those lands become unbuildable. And then the last thing I would say is that we have also looked at, I apologize, Nick, I just figured this out the other night. I should have sent it to you. There is in the Wisconsin codes, there's something called a discontinuance. Right, so it's called a discontinuance in the Wisconsin plat review, the administrative law. And what that is it's something different from a vacation. Realize it wasn't on the agenda. You can't all talk about this, but I would ask the city to consider this. And maybe you do some homework on it, Nick. This is where some of the members of the land come and say, this road's never going to get built. If that's a decision the city makes based on economics. The city board can discontinue that land and return it back to adjacent landowners, similar to a vacation, but it's done via the city council. So I'm here to answer your question. We're just trying to find a way to gain access to lots that were legally created, right? When that road was created, then those 3 lots on the west side, on the east side became legal.
For all of the reasons that Mr. Linsenmeyer pointed out, and actually Tom, for reasons you point out as well. I'll make a motion to postpone indefinitely.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
If I understand that right, then that means you're not gonna discuss it any further,
That is correct.
so those parcels become unbuildable.
That's not necessarily the case, but is anybody opposed? No. motion
Yeah,
carries.
Well, I guess I didn't understand
Yeah.
that, then I would already can't on that. We should have discussion before the vote.
Okay.
Okay? Sure. So you're saying that if the city vacates discontinues the street right away or the project street,
But try that other method.
yeah. What would be the other option? The homeowners would build the street or
The
private road? or-
If you were to, similar to our previous discussion, if you did that, then we would ask for just driveways to that. Because you can't build the road and make the lots work. And you know, at the rate it's going, you never will. The inflation value of goods and services is way faster than the inflation value of land in Mayville.
I guess I think, you know, one of our functions there, and at least I feel that way, is to build more buildings, housing, increase the tax roll. And if it was a platted street, we should almost look forward to doing that. As far as paying for it, would that not be a bonded expense?
It could be an option.
And how long before the street would have to be put in and completed? When it,
The way-
24?
The way I understand the Mayville code is that before we could get building permits to build homes, the infrastructure underground has to be in, which is largely in,
Mhm.
and then the road has to be gravelled with road base so that it's ready to be paved later. That's the requirement for building permits in Mayville.
That last tip was not included this time, right?
No.
That went all the way over to
No,
Dade and only, right, I think?
Does the city, include impact fees in a new home permit?
There are impact fees.
Yeah, sewer impact fees.
I mean, because this is a big expense for the city.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I think, look, this is something that we've been looking at for 6 months or longer. And we've had maybe 5 different variations of a proposal to make this thing work. And at some point, it just looks like you're trying to make a square peg fit through the round hole.
They should have finished the street in the first place right away.
I don't know, there isn't an easy answer. On some levels, it's maybe a go back to the drawing board. Who's gonna pay for it? Can the city afford it? Are we gonna balance the risk between the developer and the city, as we should? And what's the appropriate way to do so?
And I think that's.
I mean, should we
Did you
reach that
do
point, that's
anything
gotta be
for
part of the
evaluation
Yeah.
of what the properties would be worth, built houses on them and?
Yeah, we're looking at, excuse me, we're looking at 40,000 for the lots, because they're fairly small lots. You're looking at a $300,000 house, you're looking at 350,000. I did a quick analysis on the taxes from some surrounding houses.
Yeah.
That the city gets, the city portion, so not their total tax bill, about $1,600 or $1,700 a house. So if you got 7 houses, you're getting about $10,000 a year, which means you got about 70 years to pay off a $700,000.
Yeah. And the way that,
difficult.
and the only way that we can potentially find a solution today involves a scenario where maybe you do it onesie twosie. Build a couple houses today, and set up for the future, but the challenge then becomes, I mean, again, there's no guarantee. You're making a commitment to build 2 homes today with no guarantee that the development will build out, and therefore no guarantee that you're ever
Gonna get that right.
that you're ever gonna get your return.
That's why we've offered those other ideas to make it cost effective.
So with that, I'll call the previous question. Should motion to postpone indefinitely?
Well, I will second that. And just to be
To be clear too, postpone indefinitely doesn't mean that you can never bring this back.
Right.
It's gone for the day. It's not gonna show up in the next agenda without you bringing back another proposal.
Right. Good clarification.
It's just be too difficult to do that, like.
All right, anybody opposed to calling for the previous question? All right, all in favor of postponing indefinitely, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Postpone indefinitely is carried. Item number 7, discussion with possible action regarding a proposed lot division by owners Scott and Mark Bachhuber for a property at 930 Meadowcraft Drive. Parcel number 251-1216-1323-004. Nick, do you want to give us kind of an overview of what we're talking about here?
Well, you're who, Scott? Yeah. So. I'm thinking you talked to Rob previously. I included the information that you sent me. It looks like, you have a parcel just off of 28. Or off of, Meadowcraft Drive there, I guess is the access road to it. Looks like you just have a shed on it now, but you're looking to subdivide it to sell the other half and somebody else build a shed on it.
They approached me if we could sell part of the property that you could build a shed.
So that's what the drawings that are attached in the package show, the location and parcel and what he plans to split to make a quarter acre lot. I actually found the CSM that created that, so that's also in there, and that is actually, there's an access easement just to access your current lot through an adjacent lot. And then there is a water main easement through your lot then too for water main that runs through there. In my discussions with Rob, that's currently zoned M2 general manufacturing. And pretty much every zoning district in the city requires a primary structure or a second accessory structure. So I don't know, put it up to you guys to discuss, but I mean, I think you said something like a 50 by 50 shed he's looking to put up or something in that area or whatever.
Probably smaller than that, I just said, that was your biggest.
So. I included all that information in the packets there for you guys to review then too, so.
My thing is, what he's proposing to put up matches what is there. I mean, we already have, because you don't have an access off of 28. So you come in that, I think it's a private drive, which is where you have your easement to get back to your shed. There's two of them, two sheds in front of that. His, so this would be basically the same thing.
My only issue is I don't know that we can just waive the reverse co-restriction. I mean, arbitrarily.
that jumps out at me as a potential for concern, right? That's.
I mean, the split I have no issue with, but I don't know how you get around
The
that.
accessory structure without a primary.
Correct. And I mean, even though it's already there, it was probably long before this ever existed. So now we would be creating a new non-conformity, which I think is. If you split it and then maybe apply for a variance.
Hardship.
There's really not hardship. I think in terms of the split, no big deal, but it's splitting and slapping a shed up. I don't know how you're gonna get around the code. And unless we do that, we gotta do that for every single time.
I mean,
So that's where it gets tricky.
I don't disagree.
I understand the problem.
Yep.
But I also understand that it fits in with what's already there. So how do we get around legally?
I missed a couple days of law school. Is this something we could visit with the city attorney on and see if there's a,
Or I could talk to Rob further and then you probably have to loop in the city attorney, but I don't know, it's in the zoning district, I mean, it specifically calls out principal uses and accessory structures or accessory uses that are acceptable for that zoning district, so unless it would be spot zoned into something that maybe allow that, I don't know if there is a zoning
It's a
district that allows
Pretty
it.
typical zoning restriction, in my experience.
And that's what Rob said too, when I talked to him, it didn't sound like any zoning district currently that the city of Mayville has allows for just a accessory structure to be built on a parcel.
Merlin, I mean, I agree with you and I agree with Joe and it's.
I agree with them too. It's
Yeah.
just-
it's one of these-
Yeah, and the problem is that at some point down the road, now you have two little parcels that are useless. You can't do anything with them, you know?
Pretty much the case now.
Yeah,
Well, right, but now we're
I mean,
creating
that's
two
good.
separate ones where, you know, we've got something that you could tear that down, you've got enough space to maybe put something that's functional. We split that. You can, there's not much you can do with those little lots.
It's a pretty narrow strip.
There's no access to it.
Yeah. Do you own the drive or who?
He has an access easement through the neighboring property to get to his.
Mary
And then-
Jo, Mary Jo, MJ owns it, and you have, okay, so that's private. Basically.
That other map that I handed out shows that drive that goes through there and then it goes actually onto city owned property, but it's not right away.
Yeah. Yeah. And it dead end.
If I could take this.
This is still dead end. I mean, at one time, I think it was like.
That's what it needs to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The city uses it to get into their.
Yeah. It is.
Looking at it, I agree that you're always opening yourself up for it, like a lawyer. You're always only one lawyer away from
Right.
being sued, right? But the type of property is, the use it is now, I wouldn't see any. Anything against that if we protect ourselves somehow.
yeah, I agree. I mean, again, it's,
Yeah.
if we can find a balanced way to do it that protects. Can we, Nick, can you revisit it with Rob?
Sure.
And if we need to talk to the city attorney on it as well, maybe we can find a solution that'll help. Okay.
What would happen if you put up the building and then
Divide it.
divide it?
That's a great question. And this is, I mean, that might.
I don't know that you can agree with that.
Yeah, I
It's
just
not
don't
involved
know.
in accessory structure, you know.
Well, it's got a primary structure, you could build a second structure.
But it's just a shed,
It's not a, like.
Primary would be like a manufacturing facility, or
Yeah.
a home or whatever.
Oh,
Build a shed, but just a little chunk off to the side, like as an office, but call that the primary.
Yeah.
It would have to be
Primary,
the-
there's a.
This thing really doesn't qualify as.
Yeah.
Manufacturing.
Primary structure.
Yeah. There's a lot of fine things there.
I mean, I think the planning commission has done a good job of finding some sort of middle ground every time we can, right? So
Yeah.
let's look at it,
Yeah.
get some more information and see if there's a way. But yeah, it's like many other subjects, it's like if concern is, what does it create a slippery slope that causes us challenges in other parts of the city? You know, somebody says, okay, well, then I can do a barndominium or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
it is, you know, I mean, there's all kinds of.
I agree.
I really think Joe, barndominium.
And I just find one.
There you go. All right, so motion to table till November.
We should have an answer by then,
Okay,
if there's anything or some.
do you
way.
want to make that motion?
I'll make it most.
Postpone it to next meeting.
Okay, motion by. I'll do Tillman to postpone to the next meeting, second by Colomer.
Sure.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Item number last. Motion to adjourn. So made by Prince, second by Tillman, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Have a good night. What's that? Yeah.